Hello, this is Anviti. Welcome to the news with NDTV. It's Tuesday, May 13th, and coming up in today's episode, Congress versus BJP on all-party meeting demands as Trump misappropriates credit for India-Pakistan ceasefire. 6 years on, life sentences delivered in Pollachi sexual assault case. 3 terrorists killed in Shopian Encounter amid heightened security operations. Prime Minister Modi visits Adampur Air Base. And as India proposes tariffs on US, China rejects US tariffs on fentanyl grounds as their problem. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge has called for an all-party meeting following the ceasefire talks between India and Pakistan. And it may include the claims by US President Donald Trump that he intervened to prevent a potential nuclear conflict between India and Pakistan. Speaking to reporters, Mr. Kharge said the matter was sensitive and needed formal discussion. Quote, Trump is saying these things to claim credit. These people, the Prime Minister and central government, are saying no. It is a sensitive matter. When the all-party meeting is called, we will discuss what's the matter, what happened, and what are the telephone talks. We will ask all of these things then, he said. Mr. Kharge refrained from commenting further, however, and claimed, it won't be right for me to speak about it now. We have our party meeting today. I will ask Centre to call for an all-party meeting as well. Let's see what they do. However, BJP leader Rajiv Chandrasekhar called this demand meaningless. A quote, we will go into details in a minute. Ever since India and Pakistan bilaterally called for a ceasefire, as tensions had escalated in the aftermath of Pahalgam terror attack, US President Donald Trump has been claiming he helped avert a nuclear confrontation between India and Pakistan. Trump had said to reporters, and I quote, it could have been a bad nuclear war, where millions of people could have been killed. He credited his administration with brokering what he described as a full and immediate ceasefire. India maintains it was a call initiated by Pakistan DGMO to their Indian counterpart, which led to the ceasefire announcement. However, Trump also suggested that trade was used as leverage in persuading both countries to step back, saying, I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. If you don't stop, we're not going to do any trade. The Indian government has rejected that claim. Sources told NDTV that there was no reference to trade in any of the diplomatic discussions. They confirmed that US President J.D. Vance spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 9th of May, while Secretary Marco Rubio, held talks with Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. Former Minister and BJP leader Rajiv Chandrasekhar has also dismissed these remarks by US President. He said, and I quote, he's catering to his country, his people. That has nothing to do with us. This agreement was reached on by our DGMOs and defense personnel. On Congress's demand for a special session, Mr. Chandrasekhar said it was baseless, questioning the party's record in parliament. I'm quoting directly, this is unreasonable and baseless. The whole country is celebrating a win. Meanwhile, the Congress is busy bringing up questions for what? And I don't understand what they are asking for a special session for when, even in the usual parliament sessions, leader of the opposition Rahul Gandhi is asleep and Priyanka Gandhi also doesn't ask any questions. When the Prime Minister gave a free hand to our defense forces, then who is anybody else to ask questions, unquote. Prime Minister Modi, without naming Trump, had also made a strong statement following the remarks, warning that India will not tolerate any nuclear blackmail and reaffirming the country's doctrine under Operation Sindhu. 6 years after a series of sexual assaults and blackmail cases came to light in Tamil Nadu's Pollachi, a court has delivered its verdict finally. A special sessions court in Coimbatore sentenced 9 men to life imprisonment for gang rape and repeated sexual assault, bringing a long and closely watched trial to conclusion. Justice R. Nandini Devi handed down the sentences on Monday, finding all 9 accused guilty after years of investigation, public outcry, and a protracted legal battle. The men, Sabari Ranjan alias Rishwant, Tirunavukarasu, T. Vasantakumar, M. Satish, R. Mani alias Mani Vananan, Babu, Haran Paul, Aruna Lantham, and Arun Kumar have been in custody since their arrest in 2019. Security was tight in Coimbatore on the day of sentencing. The accused were brought to court under heavy police escort with heightened vigilance across key locations in the city. This case involved a pattern of exploitation between 2016 and 2018. At least 8 women, including a college student, were reportedly lured, sexually assaulted, filmed, and blackmailed. The accused allegedly used the footage to continue the abuse and demand money or sexual favors. Over 200 documents and 400 pieces of electronic evidence, including forensic verified videos, were submitted in the court. The public prosecutor had said, and I quote, "The survivors' testimonies, supported by digital proof, are pivotal. No witnesses turned hostile, and the Witness Protection Act ensured their identities and safety." Despite the scale of the abuse, only 8 women officially reported the crimes. Authorities said this reflected the ongoing fear of social stigma and threats of retaliation that many survivors face. The case was first handled by local police in Pollachi before being transferred to Tamil Nadu CBCID and later to Central Bureau of Investigation or CBI, following public demand for an impartial probe. Investigators uncovered a coordinated operation, with survivors saying the accused threatened to leak videos to family and communities if they did not comply. Women's rights groups have welcomed the court's decision but called for sustained support for the survivors. Quote, "This verdict is a relief, but survivors need compensation, counseling, and government job assurances to rebuild their lives," said a member of the Tamil Nadu Women's Collective. The case became a flashpoint in Tamil Nadu politics, with the then ruling AIADMK facing criticism over delays and alleged efforts to protect those involved. One of the accused was later expelled from the party. The convictions mark a significant moment in the fight for justice in cases of gender-based violence, particularly those involving prolonged coercion and digital blackmail. 3 terrorists have been killed in an encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Shopian district. The gunfight, which began earlier today, is a part of a continuing anti-terror operation that initially started in neighboring Kulgam before shifting to a forested area in Shopian. Security forces from the Indian Army and paramilitary units engaged the terrorists following specific intelligence input. One more terrorist is believed to be hiding in the area, and the operation remains ongoing. In a statement posted on X, the Indian Army said, and I quote, "On May 13, 2025, based on specific intelligence of a Rashtriya Rifles unit about presence of terrorists in general areas, Shokal Keller, Shopian, Indian Army launched a search and destroy operation. During the operation, terrorists opened heavy fire and fierce firefight ensued, which resulted in elimination of 3 hardcore terrorists. Operation is still in progress." The timing of this operation follows closely on the heels of Operation Sindoor, India's recent large-scale counter-terror strike launched in response to the Pahalgam terror attack, which had killed 26 civilians. Under Operation Sindoor, the Indian Air Force conducted targeted airstrikes on terror infrastructure located in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The government has declared that future terror attacks will be treated as acts of war and will receive a decisive response. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today visited Adampur Air Force Station in Punjab, one of the locations reportedly targeted by Pakistan following India's strikes. During his visit, the Prime Minister interacted with Air Force personnel and praised their efforts. Quote, "Earlier this morning, I went to AFS Adampur and met our brave air warriors and soldiers. It was a very special experience to be with those who epitomize courage, determination, and fearlessness. India is eternally grateful to our armed forces for everything they do to our nation. Do for our nation." Prime Minister wrote on X and even shared pictures of him with the people in the army. Pakistan had claimed it struck India's S-400 air defense system at Adampur using hypersonic missiles launched from JF-17 fighter jets, a claim Indian officials have rejected. A photograph shared by PM Modi from the base appeared to show the S-400 system intact in the background. Speaking to the nation on Monday, the Prime Minister described Operation Sindoor as new normal in India's fight against terrorism and it marks a decisive shift in the country's counter-terror strategy. India has proposed raising tariffs on certain goods imported from United States, marking its first retaliatory move during President Donald Trump's second term in office. The proposal has been submitted to the World Trade Organization. A reminder that earlier this year, President Trump, immediately after taking office, had revealed to the world his Liberation Day, or the announcement of reciprocal tariffs, wherein he labeled each country as an abuser of US goodwill and slapped them with tariffs that he saw fit in accordance with the trade deficit they had. Meanwhile, China's foreign ministry, and China being one of the worst receivers of this tariff game, stated on Tuesday that the responsibility for addressing the fentanyl issue in US lies with the US itself, rejecting Washington's tariff on China over the matter. Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian argued that US imposition of tariffs blaming China for not curbing fentanyl inflows was unreasonable. While trade tensions have eased a little bit on both sides, agreeing to lower tariffs after recent talks in Switzerland, the US maintained its 20% tariff, citing China's insufficient action on fentanyl crisis. The US has put high tariffs on China on goods it claims are being used to supply the fentanyl issue. Coming back to India, in a document dated May 12th, India informed the WTO, and I'm quoting, "The proposed suspension of concessions or other obligation takes form of an increase in tariffs on selected products originating in the United States." Quote. The document, however, did not specify which products would be targeted by the potential tariff hikes. The move comes in response to the United States' decision to impose 25% tariff on steel and aluminum imports, a measure that extends tariffs originally implemented during the Trump's first term in 2018. India, which is the world's second largest producer of crude steel, stated in its WTO filing that the US duties could impact up to $7.6 billion worth of Indian exports. The US has also warned of possible reciprocal duties on Indian goods, suggesting tariffs as high as 26%. Despite this, both sides continue to negotiate a comprehensive trade deal, with New Delhi offering to reduce its tariff differential with Washington by 2/3. Talks are ongoing, and both nations are aiming to finalize an agreement by autumn. India is also pursuing protective measures within its domestic market. Last month, the government imposed a temporary 12% tariff on certain steel imports, largely to stem inflows of cheaper steel products from countries like China. The Trump administration has consistently criticized India's tariff structure, with the US president previously labeling the country a tariff abuser. Despite this, Indian and US officials have remained engaged in trade talks, signaling a desire to reach a mutually beneficial agreement. The proposed tariffs mark a shift in India's trade posture as it seeks to balance domestic industry protection with efforts to maintain favorable terms with key global partners. That's all for today. You were listening to the news with NDTV, your daily newspaper and TV bulletin wrapped in a compact podcast. If you want to catch up with the day's events in a hurry, do remember to subscribe to the news with NDTV on Apple, Spotify, and the NDTV News app. This is your host Anviti signing off.